Salad Olivier is thought of as a quintessential Russian dish, especially by Russians. It was actually created by a Belgian chef, Olivier, in St. Petersburg about 150 years ago. What Russian home cooks make these days is a pale shadow of the original dish, which contained many exotic and expensive ingredients. These days, in the best restaurants in Russia, there are versions that are far superior to the average, particularly on New Year's Eve, when salad Olivier is considered mandatory, especially among older Russians. This recipe is just that, exactly as I prepared it for hundreds of guests on New Year's Eve a couple of years ago at one of the top 3 restaurants in St. Petersburg. To begin with, cauliflower in this case, for the Olivier that I'm making, has a lot of waste on it because this is the way it's going to be cut. You're going to go like this, and this is the piece you want with the stem on it. The rest of this is we're not going to use. We've got the cauliflower pieces cut up. Now you can use pre-ground spices here if that's what you have. Freshly ground is always better. I'm using the coriander seed, black pepper, salt, and garlic powder. Next, I've got a bowl that I've already put 22 milliliters of oil in. Now, you can use regular vegetable oil. This is unfiltered sunflower oil. This is an ingredient that's really cool. I'm going to be talking about this more in the future and in the second volume of my cookbook. It's something I never encountered until I got to Russia. It's a very, very interesting flavor, very, very useful, but not commonly encountered elsewhere. So, we got 22 milliliters of the oil. There's the balsamic vinegar. There's the spices. Let's give this a little mix around here. We're going to load the cauliflower pieces into here. Toss them around a bit. Make sure they're evenly coated. Now we want to marinate these a little bit before we cook them. So, and just kind of stir them around every once in a while. Leave them on the counter for, I don't know, 20-30 minutes is good. Make sure that they soak in as much of that as they can. This is a good time to preheat your oven. Then, after they're marinated, you spread them out on a silpat. Yeah, there's more of this left. You could process more cauliflower. I don't need that much, so this is all I'm going to do right now. This goes in the oven. Then after another 15 minutes, take it out of the oven, transfer them to a plate. When you're loading wood chips into your stovetop smoker, don't go nuts. This is one of the mistakes people make and they end up with over-smoked food. Teaspoon or so is all you're going to need for this. Then you load the confit duck legs in, close it up, and we have the smoked duck. Your first step in preparing this is to block out the vegetables you're going to use. I have 270 grams of potato, 90 grams of carrot, and about 60 grams of celery root. These are cut thin into squares, so then I can cut them up into nice, perfectly even pieces. This is what you want to end up with. Nice, very even, and very small cubes. The size of the cube is important. If you have large cubes, it won't be an Olivier salad in the proper sense. It will be a pain in the butt to cut these perfectly fine and even, but this is the work of making this dish. This is it right here. The rest of it's very simple. When you're boiling the vegetables, make sure that the water is at a rapid boil before you add them, because in that way your timing will be accurate. When I show you the texture we're looking for in one of these cubes of potato here, it should be easily crushed like this. When you've gotten the potatoes off, and you have to feel them, make sure that the right texture, Then next up, in the same water that you cook the potatoes in, you add the celery root next. Begin cooking that. Then, when the celery root has been cooked satisfactorily, finally, carrots go in the same water. Okay, carrots are cooked well. Now, if you're using canned peas, of course, this part isn't an issue, but if you're using frozen peas, then those get reheated at the very last step in the same water. Now that we have the peas, potatoes, carrots, and celery root, these need to cool down, at least to room temperature. You can also let them cool to room temperature, refrigerate them, and continue on making a salad the next day, of course. And now we go to the other ingredients. We have sausage. This is called Valencia sausage in Russia. It's a smoked pork sausage. We have the smoked duck confit that I made earlier. A little bit of scallion, pickles, crawfish tails. You can also use shrimp. I have a couple of hard-boiled eggs. When you cook these, make sure you don't have that nasty green sulfur ring. Cook them carefully so that they're just cooked on the inside. And then the cauliflower that was prepared earlier. And all these ingredients also need to be chopped finely. Now, I let all of these vegetables sit in the refrigerator overnight just to be extra safe. Now I'm putting in all of the other ingredients that you saw in the list of ingredients, except some of the crawfish. I put only about 30 grams, about 1 ounce of the crawfish in. We're going to use the rest for a garnish. And of course the mayo.
If you like my videos, look for my cookbook, now available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other internet bookseller sites. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.